You're listening to the Resilient Author Podcast, the show that goes beyond the pages to explore the grit, courage, and resilience it takes to write and publish a book. I'm your host, Eric Goodman, and each week I sit down with authors to uncover the stories behind their stories, the challenges they faced, the breakthroughs they experienced, and the wisdom they've gained along the way. Whether you're working on your first chapter or celebrating your launch, this is the place to find inspiration and practical takeaways for your own author journey. Let's dive in. My guest today is Eric Goodman, best-selling author of What's Your Mindset, a book that proves mindset isn't just a buzzword, it's a way of life. Eric's story is one of resilience and reinvention. After surviving a life-saving surgery at the age of 15, he built a career that took him from the sales floor all the way to CEO. And along the way, discovered that true leadership isn't about control, it's about empowerment. In this conversation, we talk about the lessons behind his book, how he learned to delegate and trust his team, and why maintaining a positive mindset is a daily practice, not a one-time choice. Eric also opens up about the feedback that's meant the most to him. Stories of readers who've said his book helped save marriages and even lives. His humility, heart, and dedication to service make this one of those conversations that stays with you long after it ends. Let's dive in. So Eric, for listeners who may not know you yet, I know we just connected on LinkedIn. Can you share what your book, What's Your Mindset, Meditations on Life and Leadership is about, and what you hope readers will take away from it?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. So the book is actually my memoir. It's a story about my life. I have an interesting story where I was born with a very rare condition, and I had a life-saving surgery at 15 and a half years old, where I spent 9 months in a full body cast. And coming out of that experience, sharing that publicly, very authentically and very openly about what I went through and what happened, and then just all these amazing other events that happened in my life that I talk about in a book after it was completed. I actually didn't even have a working title. I had spent a year and a half writing a book and I completed it, didn't have a title, was a few weeks away from publishing, didn't have a title. I was rereading the book and I kept coming back to every story was about my mindset. And it was about how, when I got my mindset into the right place, I was able to accomplish these amazing things. Wow, this whole book is about mindset. So, hit the title, What's Your Mindset? It came out of
Mm.
a tragic story in my life that led to a lot of I live with many disabilities and have overcome a lot of different things in my life that a lot of people struggle with, from physical disabilities to mental disabilities to just all kinds of things. And to be able to sit today and share with you about my life and with others, and the hope that just one of my stories could motivate somebody else to change their mindset and become positive and see that they can take horrible things and make them into amazing things and be positive. That's the goal of the book, and that's my mission in life, is just to motivate other people to do great things.
Mm. I love that, Eric. And just that type of mindset in general is what really gravitated me towards you. So again, I'm really excited to dive into this. So you spoke about this a little bit, but like, how did the idea actually come to you to write a book? People, we all have lives, we all go through things, but what was it that told you, like, I need to turn this into a book? Like, can you talk about that process?
Yeah, it was wild, and I learned so much. I mean, obviously, I know you're an author, and I know you have a book audience, but first entree into being an author to writing a book, didn't know anything about it, didn't know anything about the industry. I learned so much. I had no idea what was involved in writing a book. I have new appreciation for authors now. I'm like, that's a journey that you can't explain until you've experienced it. And I'm self-published, so obviously that was the decision I made to self-publish. People come to you during your career, 30 years in owning multiple companies and sitting on multiple charity boards and being involved in the community. And people ask, do you have a book? No. Are you going to write a book? No. You should share your story. Oh, so it was funny. I was actually traveling and I got my hands on a book. And I opened the book and I was reading the story about an author and I started following him on social media, and he wrote mostly history books and most of the books about these interesting places. And I messaged him and said, hey, I have this great story about this place in Orange County where I live that I don't think you know about that you may want to share in your book. And he replied to me and we started talking. Come to find out, he was a ghostwriter. And he had authored like 50 best-selling books for a lot of celebrities, multiple names that you would know if I mentioned them, that he's pinned their books. And so we got to talking and I said, I've often thought about writing a book, but I don't know how to go about doing it. And I'm not even sure I could write a book. And we never met in person, was completely all done digital for a year and a half. We worked on the book. He ghost wrote it. We met every week for an hour on Tuesdays and Thursdays. He would just go back and forth with me on what I was sharing in my stories, and he'd help me craft them. And then in a year and a half, we had a book completed and got me my manuscript back, got it to an editor, proofreader, and so forth down the road, decided to self-publish. And I actually didn't meet my ghostwriter until my 50th birthday. He attended my 50th birthday party, and that was the first time I'd ever met him in person, and we hugged each other. We said,
Wow.
man, we've been working together for a year and a half, and we never met. And then at the book release party, so many people showed up who supported his work that had heard my story. And I was just really honored to be able to work with him because he was an amazing guy and helped me get my story out there. But that's how it happened. And that's how I was able to write the book, was by having somebody that was a professional help me put it together.
That's really, really cool. I'm curious. A lot of people have, I wouldn't even say a stigma around ghostwriter or ghostwriting. I think also people just don't really know what a ghostwriter is. It's kind of a two-part question, but what made you decide to go with the ghostwriter at the end of the day, and how was that experience overall? Can you just maybe demystify it a little bit, how that
Yeah.
worked?
For me, it was amazing. I got really lucky. I had an amazing ghostwriter. We clicked from the get-go, and he supported me the whole way, and we never had any differences at all, and it was amazing. It's funny. I'm a visionary leader. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm very type A. I talk very fast. Like you said, I'm super just, my personality's like this all the time. I'm not sure that I could sit and write a book. I just don't think I could physically do it. So for somebody like me to be able to access somebody else who, if I could just dictate it and they could write it, that was the win for me because I didn't know how to even go about it. And in this digital era and age with AI and everything going on, a lot of people said, well, why? I mean, the ghostwriter is not cheap. It was expensive. I mean, I spent a large amount of money on my ghostwriter. I'll have to sell, thousands and thousands of books to even recoup my investment of what it cost me to hire him. So I wasn't looking at it from an ROI aspect, but he shared with me on the first call something which I'm sure you'll understand, which was amazing to me, was he said, it's all about how you present the story to the readers, and the way that we share it is what makes a good book. It's not necessarily the story. It's how the story's presented. And so what he shared with me on that first call, and I'll never forget, is he said, let's say that you were in a room and a person lit a cigarette and they put the cigarette out in the ashtray. It's like, what do you see? What do you feel? What do you smell? So I kind of described to him what I felt. And then he dictated back to me. He said, there was the cigarette in the person's hand and you could see in their nails, the discoloration from the cigarette and the wrinkle. And you saw them puff on it, and then they put it in a bowl and there was hundreds of other cigarettes there and there was ashes. And he just started describing to me this smoking scene. And I'm like, you're killing it. And he's like, we both told the same story. We both told the same thing. He's like, it's just you told me about just a very basic, story. And then I just elaborated it for you and told you how I would share it. And I could see it. I could envision this person in the scene. I could see them smoking a cigarette. I could smell it. I could feel it. I was touched by it. And I'm like, okay, that's why I need a ghostwriter. I can't do what he could do, right? You all have your experience in books and writing that I don't have, but yeah, I have experience in leadership and in, entrepreneurship that I can share, but I can't do it in the same way that a ghostwriter could do. So for me, it was a great experience. I loved it.
I really appreciate you shining light on that. There's so many, as you know, very well-known authors who work with ghostwriters, and yeah, I just think a lot of people would really benefit from realizing they don't have to do it alone. So that's amazing that you took that path. Just want to switch gears just a little bit here, Eric. Every author, goes through moments of resistance, doubt, procrastination, fear. You mentioned your type A, can't sit still too long. What was that like for you? Like, how did you How did you keep moving forward when you dealt with some of that resistance or maybe some of that doubt that comes with, writing a book?
Oh, Chris, the ghostwriter, I mean, he was amazing helping with that too. I don't think I could have done it because what he would do is, so the way we started the process was he's like, give me 10 stories, give me 10 things you want to write a story about. Like, is it about your family, your kids, your business? Like, what are the 10, give me the 10 most important things in your life. Write them down for me, whatever they are. And so I listed the 10 most important things in my life. And then that's how we started crafting the story. And then each time we would get through 10, then he would say, okay, give me two more, give me three more. Or he'd say, you talked about this. Can we talk more about this? What was that story about? And so he kept leading me down the path of, I think a lot of the stories that came out in the book would have never come out if he wouldn't have asked me for those stories. And the reason those stories were selected is because the four pillars in my book are faith, love, leadership, and purpose. So it's all about how those four pillars lead my life and my values and who I am today. And so he kept taking those pillars and then finding stories in my life that fit those. And then we would share them. Some of the stories I shared with him didn't make it in the book. Some of them made it in the book. And then others, he said, you told me this story. There's got to be more to this. How did this happen? And then that turned into another chapter in the book. So he really led me along the way. And without his guidance, I'm not so sure. Everybody's like, I can write a book. I can write a book like that. Yeah, you sat down to write a book and my goal was 200 pages. You'd be surprised at how hard it is to make. I was like at 100 and, 90 some pages. And I'm like, my goal is 200 pages. We got to get two more stories in here. Well, it sounds simple, right? When you say you're going to write a book and you have a great story, but when you put your story down on paper, it's really only a couple chapters. Like really, right? It's not a full book if you're doing a memoir like I did. And I was questioning, do I do a memoir? Do I do a self-help book? Do I do a book about disabilities because I was born with a severe disability and about my life story? Do I do a book about faith? I mean, there was just so many aspects that I could do. And so what we did was we took all of those, put those four pillars together and created a book where I feel like if you're faith-based, you've got the book. If you're in leadership, you've got the book. If you want purpose in your life, you've got the book. If you want love and caring for people, you've got the book. So I've tried to cover all these different areas of everyone's lives that I think any human being on this earth could pick up my book, flip to a chapter, read it, and get something that they could use in their life out of it. Maybe they weren't looking for a faith book, but they're going to find it. Maybe they were looking for a faith book and they weren't looking for a leadership book, but they're going to find it. And I think that's the magic to my book that's different the way we laid it out than maybe some others are.
Mm. Sounds like you both took a very holistic approach to it. So you mentioned Chris, your ghostwriter. Was there anyone else sort of in your cheerleading team to help you through it, or was it really just you and him working through it?
Me and him, and then as I wrote stories, because I share stories about mentors in my life, I share stories about family members in my life, I share a story about my team members at my companies in my life, and why all these stories connected. Like um, to be a CEO of multiple companies the size of mine, and to lead teams, that didn't just happen by accident. I got put in places and learned things along the way to get to where I'm at today. So I wanted those stories and those people to be involved in me sharing. I was just telling somebody this recently, like there's all these leadership and self-help books out there, which are great and they have good advice and it's business 101, but they're all the same. They all tell you the same things to do and the same. I wanted to share stories where people could understand that I had actually been through these things in my life. I implemented these lessons that you learn and at what the outcome was, and to show them how to use it, opposed to just saying, if you have a positive mindset and you're in a growth mindset and you manifest this, and if you have LOA and if you do all these things, read Steve Jobs' book. Yes, it's amazing, and I get it, but that's only 1% of the world is going to do that, and the rest of us are going to do our regular, right? Like the business is my size. That was what I wanted to get to people, was that if you could just follow these stories that I have, maybe these amazing things could happen, but you got to get in the right mindset.
Mm. Let's double click on that. So you spoke about teams and, just based on what I know about you so far, Eric, you've had to make some really big decisions in your professional life. How did your real world experience as a leader shape, some of the insights and stories that you share in the book?
Yeah, thank you for asking. So one of the companies at MBS Inc., which I talk a lot about in the story, I've been with the company for 29 years, and I started out with the company in outside sales. Then I was director of sales, vice president, president, and I bought the company in 2020 and became the CEO. So I didn't have any CEO experience. I never ran another company. I was raised in this company. I didn't know what to do or how to do it. And when I got the title of CEO, it was real eye opening for me that everyone expected that I had all the answers. Once you had that CEO attached to your name, you knew everything, and you're supposed to have all the answers, and you're supposed to just lead everything perfectly. And I was like, it doesn't really work that way. Entrepreneurship is the hardest thing I've ever done in my whole entire life, worse than my back saving surgery, worse than my other disabilities. Nothing in my life I've ever conquered is harder than being an entrepreneur. I love it, but if somebody asks me about it, I'm going to be honest with them and tell them entrepreneurship's hard. I suck as a CEO. I'm a horrible CEO. I'm the CEO of 3 companies, and I do an awful job. I couldn't be a worse CEO, and I know that. The aha moment for me was realizing that a good leader and motivating teams of people and being successful is not about having all the answers and being the best CEO. It's about getting the right people in the seats to do those jobs and let them lead and have their strengths be what I lean on and them pick up my weaknesses. So I know I'm bad at leading teams. That's why I have somebody else that does that. I know I'm bad at being organized. Somebody else does that. I know all these things I'm bad at, but I know what I'm good at. I'm good at motivating people. I'm good at visionary leadership. I'm good at public relations. I'm good at sharing stories. I'm good at talking to you about things. Like, this is my strength. This is what I do. But sitting behind a desk and signing checks all day and sitting in meetings from, what I did for 29 years was really a bad use of my time and really made me a super ineffective leader. So a few years ago, when I was able to get out of my own way and realize that if I'm vulnerable with my team and tell them I don't have the answers, I don't know, we'll figure it out. We'll make it happen. I need your help. Help me. That transformed my life. And then that's why the book has been such a revelation of all of these things that I had to endure to get to where I'm at today, to realize all of that pain and suffering that I went through for all those years. Now all that I've learned from that, I just want to pour that on everybody else and say, please don't go 30 years like I did and make all these mistakes. Learn from my mistakes, read the book, and implement those in your life now. If I could have done that 30 years ago, would have been a different, but you know what? You have to get through these trials in your life to get to the successes.
Hmm. That's really well put, Eric. I think entrepreneurship it's beautiful, but in the same note, it really is glorified and sort of glamorized, and it's hard. It's hard. So I feel like there's a lot of wisdom in this book, and I'm excited to finish reading it. Speaking of the book, we don't want to give it away, but I do want to get into it a little bit. The word mindset gets used a lot today, but your book, I feel like it treats it as something deeper. It's almost like a daily meditation or a practice. How do you personally define mindset, and what inspired you to approach it this way?
Thank you. That's a good question. Nobody's asked me that. So you could be the first one, which is awesome. As I said, that the book title, What's Your Mindset, came out of all of these stories that were combined. My original working title was going to be From Pain Comes Purpose. That was
Mm,
originally what I had the book called. And the story, when I showed my story publicly, was From Pain Comes Purpose. But that really didn't give to the what changed for me, what was different, how did I get from here to there? Like, right, okay, I had pain, now I have purpose, but what got me there? The mindset is what got me there. Having the positive mindset and the mindset of, I know I want to grow, I know I want to be better, I know I don't have all the answers, I know I'm not the best CEO, I know I'm not the best dad, I know I'm not the best friend, but I want to be, and I want to grow, and I want to learn. How do I get from here to there? It's 100% mindset. So that's why I
mm,
approached it differently, was like, if I can just get my mind in the right place to understand what I have to learn to get to where I want to be, that's the outcome that I want. I think too many leaders in today's world, CEOs, I'm in Orange County, California, in Newport Beach, like, find me a place in the country where you don't have more leaders who are under a microscope than in Newport Beach, California. Like, we're looked up on as California in general is looked up on as something that everybody in the country or world goes to. Then narrow that down to Orange County with television and it really, so many people get in the mindset that once they get a title or position or a certain level in life that they know everything, they have all the answers, and they can treat people a certain way. Not true, right? And I don't like the title of CEO. I don't like being called a CEO. I know that's my title with the company, but I want to treat everybody like they're the CEO, and I want everybody to be in the same mindset as the CEO. But I think too many people see somebody with that mindset and they think, well, I can't do that, or I don't want to be like them. If they could get in the mindset of, I want to be like them and I want to do that, I just don't want to do it the way they're doing it. I want to do it with values. I want to do it with helping people. I want to lead my community and make it a better place. I want to have impact. That's what I do. And do I worry about the bottom line? Not really, honestly, but should I? I probably should, but that's not my role. My role is just to see how we can make an impact in the community, and sharing those stories through the book is just a way. I don't know, it was almost like it's the best therapy session I ever had.
Mhm. I hear
It
that a
really
lot
it really
from
helped
people who
me.
write books. Yeah.
Yeah, it really helped me see it all, right, in black and white.
Mm. Yeah, I have to ask, Eric. So, did you grow up with this mindset? I mean, it sounds like you've gone through a lot, especially when you were younger. Were your parents this way? Did you have a mentor? Like, what got you thinking this way?
Yeah, in the book, I mentioned 3 or 4 mentors in the book who've led me along my way, that each one of them had their various different ways and different sets in my mindset, from purpose to love to faith to leadership. Yeah, have 4 of them in there that I talk about. Of course, family, my dad being an entrepreneur, my mom being an entrepreneur,
Wow.
relatives, things. But I think the real thing for me was that life-saving surgery at 15 and a half years old, and being in a full body cast for 9 months from the neck down, and being isolated where all I had time to do was just to think
Mm.
about my life and about what had happened to me and why did this happen to me and why am I going through this, and why. This was in 1990, so there was no internet, there was no iPhone, there was no I had television, but that was about it. Books, so I had a lot of time to reflect. And then as I grew and started leading teams and being involved in nonprofits and doing things and having people come to me, I realized I had a lot of empathy for people because of my disability. I had a heart for caring for people because of my disability, and being in that positive mindset of helping others. It grounded me in a way that, I don't know, I guess I just from a very early age looked at life differently than everybody else because I felt like I got a second chance. And that second chance, some people are in their 50s and they get a second chance in life and they're like, I'm going to change and do everything differently. I was 15 and a half years old, right? So then I had the whole life to work at that. And if you met my wife or my kids, I've been married 31 years. I've got a 31-year-old daughter and a 26-year-old son, and they will tell you, all 3 of them will tell you, in the 31 years we've been a family, they've never seen me lose my temper. They've never seen me get upset. They've never seen me yell. They've never seen me get mad. Or if I have, they can tell you that one time in their life that they've seen it. If you went to my team of 30 years, that at any of my businesses, I've never got upset at the office. I never yell. I never scream. I never once, not what. You can ask anybody on my team, has Eric ever lost his temper at the office? Have you ever seen Eric mad? My team will tell you, I've never once seen Eric mad in 30
Mm.
plus years.
Wow.
But that's a mindset that I have to be in to do that. Now, sometimes do I go sit in my car and scream? Absolutely. Absolutely. Do I ever do that in front of my team? Never. Because I'm the leader, and the way that I lead and my mindset dictates how my whole company's run, and everybody's attitude and everybody's personality and everything they do is completely 100% dictated by the way I act. So if I come in my business is yelling and screaming and mad and grumpy, my whole team's going to be that way. Everybody in my life's going to be that way. But if I go in and I'm positive and I have positive mindset and I say, we're going to get through this, we're going to make it happen, we're going to do it. And I live that every single, it's different to say, oh, I have a positive mindset, I'm a positive person. But do you really, or do you not? I live that every single day, and my teams know that, and my family knows that, and my friends know that. And I think that's why authentically the book and my story does so well with them, is because they know I live it, right?
Mhm.
If I was the guy that wasn't living it and they saw that, they would be like the pastor who preaches that doesn't live, doesn't live the life. it's not easy to live like this every single day. It's
Mm.
work. I have to work at it every day to have a positive mindset. But I got up this morning knowing that I could either make today great and have this amazing day and make all these amazing things happen in my life and other people's life. I was excited about this podcast with you. I was excited to touch other people's lives. I was excited to get to know you. I was excited to expand my network and my audience. And I look forward to it. If I got up this morning with the mindset of bad thing happened to me, business is not in a good place, life sucks, I hate this, I have this stupid podcast this afternoon. If I had just been in that mindset, the whole day would have been like that.
Mm.
I got up this morning with a positive, faith-filled mindset that today was going to be amazing. And I'm going to come home tonight and my wife's going to say, how was your day? I'm going to tell her about all these amazing things that were going to happen to me. And she's gonna like, well, was the whole day amazing? No, there was bad things that happened too, but I don't want to dwell on those bad things. I only want to dwell on the good and amazing and positive things to keep me like this. And that's what keeps me going every single day.
Mm. Really, really appreciate that perspective, Eric. Just for our listeners, would you be open to maybe sharing a story? You talked a little bit about your personal life, but would you be open to sharing a story about your career where your mindset really made a difference? Maybe something where like your mind had to change because the situation wasn't. Would you be open to sharing maybe an example?
Yeah, well, the leadership thing, like I said, all of my team, everybody all my executive team at my companies all started out entry level job like I did. Every single one of my managers started out in an entry level, either warehouse job, office job, and then moved their way up to either be, on the C-suite team or be a manager of a department or in a VP role. And so I've always moved everybody up from within because I knew that's how I was brought up. And I wanted other leaders in my organization to have that experience of I could bring out an outside leader in, but then they didn't have the same passion from our organization I do because the people that I brought up as leaders all grew with my organization with me, right? So we all are in it together. Um, Really early on, when I first started leading teams and leading people, my mentor was our old CEO who passed away suddenly in 2012. It was tragic that he passed unexpectedly, and I got catapulted to that position to be the president of the company. And I didn't know how or what to do. I wasn't sure how to lead. So I just thought, well, I'll just treat them like he's treated me. I know how he's respectfully treated me, and I'll treat them the same way. And that worked for a while. But the problem is if you don't have the right people in the right positions, um, I had some people in the wrong seats who were causing turmoil and stress among the organization with other leaders. And they were looking to me like, why am I not making a change? Why am I not doing anything different? And I wanted to let them all lead their own teams. And I was trying to make everybody happy and be the CEO I thought I was supposed to be. And then when I had that mindset shift that I needed to let each one of them lead their own departments, make their own decisions, do their own teams, and I needed to just get out of the way and lead. That was like an epiphany for me. And I'll share with you what happened. It used to be every day I would come in the office and there was a line outside of my door and it would line in the lobby and it would be the management team waiting to get in to talk to me. So each one of them would come in and they would talk to me about a problem or an issue and then I would have to solve it. And that was a daily occurrence. I would come in and there'd always be a line outside my door. Somebody needed something, right? It was constant. That was unhealthy because nobody was making decisions without me. I was the decision maker and they knew that because I was the owner and the CEO. And once my mindset changed to, you know what, you all need to make the decisions for your department. You need to do it. I need to empower you. And when I do, I have to just be good with that decision and let you handle it. I shifted from a line outside my door to every manager in every department leading their own teams and doing it the way they wanted to do and me being there to support them. I didn't always agree with the decision they made, didn't always agree with the way they ran it, but I gave them the authority to do that. So I had to support them. And I stood back and just was there to help them. I entered a meeting a couple years after this whole transition, and I remember sitting in the meeting with the management team, and everybody was there for an hour, and I never spoke. And the meeting was over, and I was kind of looking around the room like, "Okay, when do I talk? When do I get a share?" And I'm like, "Do you all need anything?" So, "Nope, we don't need anything." "Does anybody need help with anything?" "No." "So you don't need me for nothing?" They're like, "Nope, we're good." I'm like, "Okay."
Mhm.
And I started to cry and I got really emotional and they're like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "This is the happiest moment in my life. I can't, this is like, I'm so excited. They're like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "You guys just led an entire meeting. I never said a word. You never included me in anything. I was sitting here, but you never spoke to me. I never had any input, and you guys just ran everything and did it." And they had come so far, and they were doing such amazing work, and they were a team, and they were killing it. And I'm sitting over here doing nothing. They never needed me. They just needed me to support them and to be there for them and to care for them. And I don't think they saw it as such an emotional big aha moment as I did, but I left that meeting going, this is success. This is victory. Like I didn't have to do anything. Now there's other CEOs or leaders of organizations or coaches who will say, you know, you're successful once your team can lead without you being there. I agree. But for me, it was the revelation of I'm there and I'm helping them, supporting them, but they can do it without me. And that was the culture we had built, which was just an amazing, amazing thing. It was just like
Mm,
incredible.
mm. You hire good people and you let them do their work.
That's right. And got out of
Yeah.
their way. And I'm there to,
Yeah.
and sometimes I find I'm in the office and in the building and they don't even need me there. They just want me there for the comfort of knowing that I'm there if they need me. And that gives them the power to do what they need to do because they know I've got their back. So they're going to make a decision. I'm going to support it and that they know I'm there going, you got it. And that's all they need. But they don't, before they would need me to step in and do all the work because they thought I had all the answers or that I was the owner. So I had to tell them how to do it. Now they know that they can do it and they just see that I'm there and then that's all they need. And that's my role, which is great.
Mm, mm.
Which is really
That to
great.
me, that to me truly does define what leadership is. I think a lot of times, to your point, a lot of people think you have to micromanage and be on top of people, but ultimately you're creating space for people to do what they need to do. You're there, but ultimately you're letting people do what they do best.
Yeah,
It's
that's
amazing.
exactly. And one last thing I'll share, you'll find is by I shared recently on another podcast and they were blown away by it. I never shared it publicly and it's not in the book, but at our offices, I don't even have at our building, I don't even have an office. I physically don't have an office in the building. I sit in the conference room. And so I do all my work from
Wow.
the conference room. And then what happens is if they have meetings, they knock on the door and say, "Excuse me, can we use the conference room?" And then I have to move to another location. And then somebody comes in there and then they say, "We need to use this room." And I go, "Okay." And I pack up my bag and all my sudden I move to the kitchen. And then it's break time and everybody comes in the kitchen. Then I have to go set in my car. And then I set in my car and everything. And so it's just this crazy thing at the office. And somebody said, "Well, why don't you have an office?" I said, "Well, when we built our new building and remodeled, I chose not to have an office in the building by choice. And the reason I did that was because I didn't want a shrine at the end of the hallway that was my office. Like at the old building, I had this massive office with a big lobby and setting room and my assistant, and it was this big shrine to myself. And it made me feel really powerful and good. And everybody knew that if you were down in the West Wing, as my son would call it, that, that's where everything happened and that sort of thing. I wanted everybody to know that all of the other managers are the ones that are in charge of leading the team, and I'm just there in the building. And that sense of giving up that office space was just a lift off from my shoulders because now, whether I'm there or not there, there isn't a sense of presence that I'm in the building or that there's a space that's that throne. Everybody knows that the management team is leading the organization. I'm just there to assist. And sometimes they see me in the building, sometimes they don't. They don't know when I've come, they don't know when I've left. They peek in the conference room. Oh, he's not there, and that's it. I did that 2020 2023, I guess. Yeah, 20
Mm.
so 3, 4 years. So it was really cool, and now as I've shared that and a couple of people have found out about, they've like, "That's a really cool mindset that I'm in, that I don't need a space in the office to be my office space. I just need to be there to support the team, and everybody knows that they're leading the organizations and that it's not about me, it's about all of them." That's what I was showing by not having an office.
I love that. And at this point, Eric, no turning back. Like you're not going to go
No.
back. No.
No, no turning back. No, it's the greatest thing I ever did. And I go in the office one day a week, and then the rest of the time I have to do what I need to do to be a visionary, PR in the field, making connections, meeting with people, doing things like this. It gives me the opportunity to do the book. Um, serve on a lot of nonprofit boards. So no, I'll never go back and change. It's the greatest thing I've ever done. And when you're younger and you have an ego, those things control your life. But when you get my age and you realize that those things aren't what is important, and you shift your mindset to more about caring for people and helping others and making an impact while we're on this earth and leaving it a better place. Um, I don't miss my big office at all. Not even though there isn't one day that I've got up and been like, I'm sitting in my car out in front of the building thinking to myself, how amazing is this that I'm stuck sitting in my car on my laptop because the team is in there killing it and they're doing what they need to do and they don't need me. Like
Mm.
that's cool.
Yeah,
But
those are the
now
kind of problems I think a lot of people want. And that's a great
that's
problem to
more
have.
cool to say I don't have an office and 99.9% of the time on a Zoom call, I'm in my car and people will say to me, "Oh, I see you're in your car again. You must travel a lot." I'm like, "No, I just don't have an office." I spend a lot of time sitting in my
I love that. I love that. So you've mentioned a lot of things, Eric. How did writing this book and just reflecting on your life, how has it changed you as a person or as a leader? What has been sort of the after effect?
I was very and I don't know, you're an author, so you understand or know too, and I've talked to a couple of authors that didn't feel the same way I felt. You mentioned it at the beginning of this interview was how did I feel and what was it like and what was the book like and all that. I felt really good writing the book. I felt really good sharing the stories. I felt good with my ghostwriter. Everything was great. And then the week that the book went live on Amazon, I was freaking out. I was panicking. I was so nervous. I was thinking, I shouldn't have done this. I wish people weren't going to get the book. I don't want them to read it because I shared so much personal stories and vulnerability and things in my life that I've never shared publicly. And now people are buying it that I've never met and reading these things about my life. And people that I've known for 20 years are calling me saying, I had no idea this happened to you. I had no idea you did this. I had no idea you overcome that to get this. I see you now and I see everything you're doing and I just thought that's the way it's always been. Like I had no idea you had all these struggles. So it was really freaking out like it's really vulnerable place to be. It was like, these people are reading like behind the curtain door, right? They're
Mm.
seeing pour into my life that I've never let anybody see. And then after a few weeks of it being out, I felt better. And then at the book probably felt better. And then the last couple of weeks, I had somebody come to me and tell me that my book saved their marriage, that they
Mm.
don't think they would be married today if it wasn't for my book a couple weeks ago.
Mm.
And I had a very well-known entrepreneurial leader in Orange County send me an email and tell me that he was in a really dark place and that he wasn't sure what he was going to do and that he couldn't sleep and was up all night and at 3 o'clock in the morning started reading my book and couldn't put it down, read the whole book and then went back to bed peacefully and got a couple hours sleep and that he felt like I saved his life. I've had people contact me sharing stories like that it's only been out 18 days, 19 days that I didn't expect to happen from the book, and them telling me those things are, like right now, my hair is, raised on my arm and my skin. It just gets me so, it just, that emotional feeling to think that my book and that my stories are taking somebody and saving their marriage or not committing suicide or doing things to help their community or life because they read one of my stories. It's mind blowing. But now I'm glad the story's out, and now I'm glad people are embracing it and learning from it. But it's still a very vulnerable place to be to think that I shared something so personally and that they connected with it so personally that it affected their life. Like that's just crazy.
Mm.
Just crazy.
Yeah, wow, 18 days. So imagine a year, 2 years, 3 years, the impact that your book's gonna have on people. That's
I
amazing.
hope so. I hope so.
Wow.
I
Wow.
hope so.
So if someone listening, to this episode today is feeling stuck, in work or just unsure, how to lead themselves through a tough season in life, what what would you tell them? What would you tell them?
Well, from personal experience, having been there many times before, and you'll read in a book when you get there, like almost losing my business to almost losing my building to almost losing my wife to um, just just all the things I've conquered in my life and been through to get to where I'm at today would be. It is so easy for somebody to say to somebody else, just get in the right mindset, just be positive, just do it. Like it's easy to say, and I think people would see me and say, well, it's easy for you to say to do. It's different to do it, but it's a conscious effort that every single day I have to get up and I have to pray and I have to get in the right mindset that I'm going to make an impact in the world today and I'm going to help somebody, it's work and I have to work at it every single day and all the time. But when I do, the outcomes that come from that are so amazing and the opportunities are so amazing and the things that happen in my life are so amazing and the accomplishments are amazing because I'm in that right mindset. So I would just tell somebody, if you get up and you have the attitude that today is going to suck or your life is going to suck or your marriage is going to suck or your job sucks, it's probably gonna suck. And that's how your whole day is gonna be. If you could just get up every single day and thank God that you're on this earth and that you're alive and that he put you here for a purpose and you find that purpose and you say, I'm gonna make an impact in this world and I'm gonna help one person's life, whether family, friend, coworker, whatever it is, and that your ultimate goal and mission in life is to do that, I guarantee you it will change the whole way you look at everything. Your whole existence will change if you can just find that sense of purpose in your life to lead and to make an impact and to do something. And anybody can do it. A student, somebody in their 90s, my age, anybody can do it. It's just how you decide you're going to attack life today and what mindset you're in. And I think too many people, especially with society and the internet today, they get in a mindset of why me? Why them? Why do I have? Why don't I? And then you start going down this rabbit hole. And the next thing you know, you're at the bottom of the rabbit hole, and then you're trying to dig yourself out to figure out how did you get here, and then that leads to addiction of other things. And I think if the reason I don't drink is because I know that I have a very addictive personality, and that if I start drinking, I'm going to go down the wrong path. The same thing with my mindset. If I get my mindset in a bad place and I let it go down that hole, and it goes too far, I'm not coming back out. So I need to just stay in the positive mindset up front and never let it get there so I don't ever have to worry about getting out.
Mm. I definitely really resonate with that. And I'm sure there's someone listening to this who resonated with that. I think for me, being a father of a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old, you know what that's like. There's some days where you're not getting sleep, there's a lot of demand, and it's easy to sort of start going down this dark path. And just to your point, as soon as you just sort of shift your focus to, wow, I'm so grateful to have kids. I'm so grateful to be in a position to where I can do these things with these kids. It's amazing how things just start to shift versus just focusing on how come they're not listening? Why are they so loud? All this other stuff. And to your point, it's just like that switch. I really appreciate you just reiterating that because it's simple, but it's not necessarily always easy.
No, it's not. No, it's hard work. It's really hard work. And that's people don't understand it. Getting in a positive mindset is hard. It's just if you can stay in that every single day and find it when you wake up in the morning. It's my faith is what's carrying me through. Your faith and other listeners' faith may be different. I don't care what faith you have. I just want you to find faith, something higher power to believe in, something that you can lean on to go to in those dark times of need where you find out, I'm struggling with the marriage, I'm struggling with the kids, it's hard. How do I get out of this? You have to have some support system. For me, it's my faith. I think everybody needs to have faith. And then outside of that, take the faith and put it in the mindset and then be thankful for that mindset that you have it and that faith has got you to where you're at today. And then that's how you stay positive. And I'm living proof that you can do it. Man, if I had given up, the back surgery was nothing. If I'd have given up then, that would have been something. But to think about the last 30 years, the lives I've impacted with the nonprofit work and with our businesses, my business, one business, we care for 3,500 developmentally disabled adults and children
Oh,
every single day with our services. I have about 500 homes that we service
wow.
with our services. The lives that have been impacted through those decisions I made are incredible,
Mm,
but that was all a mindset decision that I made to do that. And if I wouldn't have been in that space, I couldn't have done all these things I did. So I think I'm living proof that you can do it. And is it hard? Yes. Is it a daily work? Yes. Is it something I have to remind myself all the time? Yes. But for me to say I haven't lost my temper or been upset in 31 years at my office or my home, I think is something to be very proud of. I think that's a
yeah.
testament that I think there's very few people on this earth that can say that. And if you went to my family or teams and they back me on that and say, no, he's serious. He's like this all the time. I think people would just be like, how's that possible? But it's a constant work that I'm at to stay in that positive mindset of knowing that I can only do greatness if I'm staying, if my head is in the right space.
I love that, Eric. You may have answered this, but I just want to double click on it just in case there's something else. Just a couple more questions, but what's one daily practice or mindset shift that's helped you to stay grounded and resilient in your work?
For me, it's my prayer. I mean,
Mm,
for me, so every single morning I get up and I pray and I thank God for my life. I thank God for people in my life. I name them off specifically on my prayer list. I thank him for the businesses that are his, that aren't mine, that I know are his, and that he's just allowed me to lead. I thank him for my teams. I thank him for my board member. I mean, I thank him for all these sort of things. And then I every morning I say, I thank him for all this. And then I say, I want you to use me. I want you to help my story and my life help someone else today. And, put me in a place where that will happen. And every single day I go out into the world and some amazing thing happens where somebody LinkedIn's me like you did, or somebody meets me in person, or somebody texts me or calls me, or I bump into somebody and I have some opportunity to help them. And then sometimes it's hard. Sometimes I help multiple people in a day and it gets really heavy weight on my shoulders. And I think to God, like, why are you putting all, everything I'm going through? Why are you putting all this additional weight on me? I can't handle this. And then I think, well, he's doing what I asked. I asked him this morning to bring people to me and let me help them. And did he just poured all this on me during the day? And then at the end of the night, sometimes it's really hard. I carry a lot. I carry a lot of people's weight on me and with me. But then at the end of the day, I go, you know what? I asked for that and he's equipped me to be able to do that. And I'm thankful that um that my talents are able to do that and that I'm capable of doing that, and then the next day I repeat through it all over again, and it's a daily mindset that I have to stay in every single day, but I don't think if I asked for those things, I don't think I would get them. If I just got up, lived my day, and didn't try to help anybody or do anything great in this world, I think I could do that all day and just find nothing if that's what I chose to
mm,
do, but I'm out searching for it every single day, asking to be used and asking to help other people, and he just keeps piling it on me, which is amazing.
mm, mm. Eric, I'm really glad I found you on LinkedIn. You've just
Thank
said a
you.
lot of things that have really resonated with me today. Just as we close here, I like to end every conversation with something I call the final chapter. If you could sit across from someone who's struggling to believe in their own leadership or just their own story, what's the one thing you'd want them to remember?
Well, I had an interesting story. I love this. I'm glad you asked the time to convince me. So I've had somebody that I'm mentoring post on LinkedIn this week about their dream and about what they want out of life and that they haven't received what they fully want or they haven't got to their goal. And they're a little older than me. And it's to be a CEO of a company or to be at that level. Like they've been striving to be at that level their whole life and they're not there. And I read the post and I thought, that's upsetting to me. And that's wrong because maybe that person doesn't see themselves in the CEO seat, but
Mm,
they're a leader who lead people every single day and changes life every single day without the title. So I sent a message on LinkedIn. I publicly commented and I said, I disagree. And the reason is because I said, you can start your own company today, Carry Inc. at Carry LLC, and you can be the CEO. You could be the CEO of your house, of your wife and your two amazing kids. You could be the
mm,
CEO of your friend group. You can be the CEO of your church group. You can be the CEO of anything you want to be. You don't need a CEO title to
mm,
impact this world and make changes in your life. But he's so set on that bar is I'm not successful in life unless I have the title of CEO. Okay, fine. Give yourself the title of CEO. It's 100% mindset. Go out and
mm,
tell everybody you're the CEO of the company. And if people see you and know you as the CEO and they think you are amazing, you're doing all these amazing things, it's completely 100% your mindset. He's only the CEO of maybe one person himself, but it doesn't matter to society. All they see is he's got CEO after his name. Wow, he's powerful. This guy he knows what he's doing. He's a CEO. It's not like that. It's I'm a CEO and my mindset is I don't want that title. Take it off because it's too much responsibility. I got the job and I don't like the job. It's too hard. I don't want it. But I fought my whole life to get this title. And now that I have it, I don't want it. He's fighting his
mm,
whole life to get that title and he's gonna get it and then he's gonna be empty. And then he's gonna
mm,
be saying, now I'm the CEO and I don't it didn't change anything. I don't feel any better. You could be the CEO of your life right now, and you could impact and make all these differences in the world, whether you have the title or you don't have the title, whether you're good at something or bad at something, whether you're black or white, it doesn't matter. I just want everybody to get in the mindset to understand that if you tell yourself you are something and you can do something, you can do it. You don't need the title or somebody else to tell you you can do it, because you could just do it on your own with your own mindset, and you could be there and be the CEO of whatever you want to be. That's what I would tell somebody.
Mm. We could end it now, Eric, but I want people to know where they can find your book and how they can follow you. This has been incredible. I really
Oh,
appreciate you
thank you
coming
so
on
much.
today.
Oh, that's awesome. So Amazon.com. You can get the book, What's Your Mindset, on Amazon. It's Eric L. Goodman, so the middle initial L, which is the distinction. LinkedIn, I love LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn, also under Eric L. Goodman. So connect with me on LinkedIn. And then my website is ericgoodman.org. No L, ericgoodman.org. So my contact information, the link to buy my book is on there. My leadership stuff, I share on LinkedIn every single day. I know that's how you and I connected. I share mindset quotes and about my businesses. I don't really ever share about what the companies do or what my businesses do for a living. I just share about the impact we make in the community and about how you can help people in your life through your resources, which I believe are my companies. And then my mission is just to impact somebody to do what I've been able to do. And I hope somebody that's listening to your podcast or somebody that gets their hands on the book, that I'm able to change their life. And then that to me makes this whole journey worth it.
Mm. Eric, well, you definitely rubbed on my heart today, and I really
Awesome.
appreciate this time. I'm looking
Thank you.
forward to just getting to know you and really appreciate you coming on the show today.
And this is my first international, right? This is my first one. It's like everything else I've had US based, and you're in Norway. So this is super exciting. Like I'm going to be shouting about this because it's a cool thing that we connected all the way across the big vast ocean. I think that's awesome.
Absolutely. Well, I'm sure you'll have a lot more international podcasts in the near future.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks for having
Thanks,
me.
Eric. Thank you. Thank you so much for tuning into the Resilient Author Podcast. I hope today's conversation gave you both inspiration and practical tools for your own journey. If you've been carrying the idea for a book, but haven't started, or you've started and feel stuck, I'd love to invite you to join my 5-day Speak Your Book Challenge. In just 5 days, you'll speak the outline of your first draft and discover how to turn it into a finished manuscript and a published book. You can join anytime at voicetobook.co/challenge. Until next time, keep going, stay resilient, and remember, your story matters. Thank you.